So is the KESPA Cup the final tournament of 2025, or is it the first tournament of 2026 due to the new rosters? Because the KESPA Cup starts tonight. Well, yeah, tonight by the time I'm posting this video on Friday, technically tomorrow, but nevertheless, it's here. And much like golf, we kind of have this wraparound schedule where the official calendar year, like the Golden Road, everything else, that doesn't actually begin until the end of January next year. So after this tournament, we basically have a month and a half off, which I will touch on later in this video because I've got a really cool update for everybody. I apologize if there's crinkling in the background. Coco's playing with a toy and I don't want to be a jerk and take the toy away from her. If you have a problem with the audio quality, just know you are trying to get me to upset a dog, and that's not cool. Anyways, back on topic. Much like the FedEx Cup in golf, this still technically is part of what I'm calling 2026, like the wraparound calendar that goes through to next year, because these are going to be the rosters that we're going to see. And we've already touched on a video talking about the KESPA Cup. It will be available only on Disney Plus. For those that haven't seen it, Blabber put out a pretty interesting advertisement for it, which is, hey all, not so fun addition to this video that has come. I filmed this originally when it was, I think, Wednesday evening at the time of updating this. I don't know, there might be a further update Thursday that you'll get on this. But C9 has reportedly confirmed in their Discord that apparently this is only going to be available on Disney Plus APAC. It will not be available to watch for anybody from North America. Now, I don't know what else to say on that. I've not heard anything internal. I work in finance. I don't work on product side, so I don't have an answer for you there. So the only thing that we have to go off of is what C9 said. So I'm sorry. I wish I had better news than that, but obviously I'm still going to cover everything here as we get information that trickles out and somehow find ways to watch the VODs. If I figure out how we can watch it in any way, shape, or form, I'll update you. But given strict media rights on this type of stuff, I don't know what that entails. The only other positive update is that it looks like teams are actually going to be running their full rosters, with the exception of some that might be out for military potentially, like doing basic training. We're not 100% certain, but it seems like for the most part, people are going to be running their full squad. So you'll see me reference like relative power strains, assuming that people have everybody or potentially don't. Like, just go under the assumption that for the most part, everybody's going to be there. I have no clue yet where highlights might be at. Never got an answer, so I don't know what to tell you. But I'll be covering everything here. And now we know the groups, we know the matchups, so we can talk about this just a little bit more in depth. Again, for the group stage, it is going to be you need to finish first in your group to be able to automatically go to the knockout stage of this tournament, or you finish second in your group and then you qualify for a best of 3 stage to qualify to become the 4th team out in the finals. Of note, this thing is being played online, with finals being held in like an 800 person auditorium over in Korea, so it's not like it really makes all that big of a difference to those of us on the East Coast. We're watching it online anyways, but I'm curious to see what this ends up looking like, because I've never watched a KESPA Cup live in any capacity. But Group A, that will have Cloud9 in it, will also have BNK, FearX, Gen G, Hanwha Life, and the Vietnamese super team. Now, the Vietnamese super team, the names didn't really stand out all that much to me. Looking at the other squads in this particular group, obviously Gen G and Hanwha Life are what they are. Do we know if anybody's playing their full roster yet? I am curious to see, though, if like the media rights and this not just being a thing on like Twitch and YouTube and available everywhere, if that affects who is actually going to be playing in this tournament, if it's taken a little bit more seriously than prior KESPA Cups were taken in some way, shape, or form. But nevertheless, this is a dangerous road for Cloud9. It is entirely best of ones in this entire group. So the order of teams that they will be playing is they are the lead-off match of this entire thing against Gen G. That's their first matchup. Then they play against Hanwha Life, and then Vietnam, and then BNK FearX. So realistically, we will probably know, barring some upsets, within the first 4 hours of this tournament, whether C9 will be around to see a best of series or not, or whether they're just out in the best of ones. Assuming they do play against the full roster, it's hard for me to sit here and tell you exactly how they're going to pull off the upset against Gen G or against Hanwha Life, because realistically, in terms of the lanes, while Thanatos, I think, is not obviously going to be as good as Keen, I could make the argument for Zeus because his form dropped off a little bit towards the end of last year. I mean, he's just going to be worse than the two of them on paper. Blabber against Canyon and Kanavi. I've seen that enough to know typically how that goes. APA against Chovy and Zeka. I'll be honest with you, Zeka kind of dropped the ball last year for me, and I think there is potential for APA if he's in this new environment and he's reinvigorated. And again, it is best of ones. All it takes is one good game. There's a world where they could possibly beat Hanwha Life. Now, topping Gumayusi and Delight for Sven and Vulcan, a little bit tougher. Same thing for Ruler and Doro. So look, if I'm looking at this, if both teams are at full strength, obviously I think Genji is going to be next to impossible to beat. It would be a massive upset if they do. Hanwha Life is the one that I'm looking at saying, hey, if you can play through either mid or top, whichever lane is able to get an advantage that you have faith in, maybe you can pull it off. And bot lane just needs to hold on for dear life and let the other side win it for you. Like, that's the whole point of this Sven and Vulcan bot lane on C9 is like, you are the stable rock. You don't fall too far behind. You're probably not going to get too far ahead, but you allow the other lanes to win. And that's going to be C9's strategy. If they can do that, it could work out well. I have no clue meta-wise how this is going to look. They are assumedly on live patch right now for us, which means they're not on the new season, so we don't have to worry about quests or any of the changes, the massive things that will be happening for LoL Esports going into next year. For now, it's more or less a continuation of what we already knew. And I'm not sure how much Genji or Hanwha Life will be practicing, which is where C9 actually does distinctly have like their one advantage in this particular group, because they're over there boot camping their asses off. I don't know what the Korean offseason looks like. I don't know if they're playing right now or if they're just, messing around, having fun. T1 was just in Germany for Red Bull League of its own. So like, I can't imagine they're going to be taking this too seriously, even though they have 2 months off after this. Like, maybe this is the last time that you take it ultra serious. But look, we've seen weirder things happen in these one-off tournaments. That's all I'm saying. The format's not this hyper-competitive thing, so anything could happen. Look, let me cope, okay? Let me cope. I'm the North American fan. We have 2 NA teams here at this tournament. We just got to deal with that as it comes. I will say real quick, I don't know how Group B ended up how it did. This is the Fries group. I mean, you have the Freaks, D plus Kia, DRX, KT Rolster, and Bro. How did North America get screwed with the other 2 groups and somehow this is it? Now, we didn't get entirely screwed, but I'm just saying, like, that's barring KT and maybe D plus Kia. Like, that's a doable group for any North American team that would have ended up there. But we didn't. So where did TL end up? They ended in the 4-team group with Japan, Nanjing Red Force, T1, and obviously themselves. T1, you assume, is probably going to top that group. Nanjing is the beatable one, all things considered. For this Team Liquid squad, the official roster has now been announced. Every piece is out there. Jose Dioto, Lord Morgan himself, Quid, Yawn, and Core JJ. All I'm saying is we have not seen Yawn and Core and Quid play together yet. And that's a lethal combo that could possibly cause some upsets in this group if people are not paying attention. When you compare that to Scout, Taehoon, and Lehens, other than Scout, yeah, like, I think that's fine. And Quid showed that he's able to keep up with people. So honestly, I'm pretty fine with how Team Liquid looks in this group and should be able to finish at least second. I'm not saying if T1's playing full strength that they're able to pull that one off, but yeah, I can see a world where this squad looks good. Morgan's on home soil. Core JJ back home, chilling. Like, this should be as relaxed of an environment, yet still competitive because they've been boot camping for a little bit longer than most, or you would assume longer than the Korean teams have been practicing together. Like, could happen. And I do want to give a shout out to Team Liquid Content. I know they're the first group that has really published their roster and the only ones that have really talked about it. But obviously the videos that they had with Jose Dioto and with Morgan were pretty good themselves, even if it was a little like, hey, sit in front of the camera, give us a message, say your thing. I know they're not in person, so obviously they'll be able to talk about this more, and hopefully, like, while all of these players are together and playing in Korea, we can get some real content and real interviews and like some conversations that feel a little bit more natural than that. But I will say, Don Jake did a write-up on Morgan where he had a conversation with Umpty, who was the former jungler for Team Liquid. And it was a really good write-up from Don Jake. The interview itself was pretty funny. They're talking basically just about going out and getting drunk together. But I really enjoyed the writing style of that particular article. And I hope more teams partner with writers to do exactly this. Like, I would like to see these kind of write-ups, especially for North American players getting their debut, like as an introduction to the league. FlyQuest, I think, is an org that would benefit greatly from a few of these articles. Like, it did a lot to build up hype for me. Now that, like, all the pieces have settled, like, obviously the last video we talked about all the import stuff, like, That's still an issue, by the way, because we just lost another North American player over to Europe in Toasty Alex. But nevertheless, I do enjoy these. Just wanted to throw that out there. For Team Liquid, they actually played their one most important game. Well, most important, but technically all of them are. The end of the first day. It'll be at 7 o'clock. I believe this is in EST on the fandom website, if I'm looking at that correctly. 7 a.m. Team Liquid, Nongjin. Like, that's the one they got to win. If they win that, then, hey, it might be smooth sailing from there. They don't play on day 2 at all. And then day 3, they will play both their match against Japan as well as T1. So again, we'll know by the end of the weekend whether teams will keep going or not. Then there will be a day break. They'll play on Tuesday, and we go from there. So what can you expect from me in terms of coverage of this? Well, obviously, to my knowledge, nobody's co-streaming. But I will be making sure that I have a video out on Monday when we're talking about everything when it's all said and done. I'm working from home, so I will be able to do that video and have it out for you all as you're waking up in the morning on Monday. So you have a full update on how the tournament went. I probably won't be able to include highlights, but I will be able to include post-game stats, and we could talk about the initial debuts of everything. Because a reminder, even though this tournament doesn't technically matter, if we play well, it means the world. Don't forget that. But I do have one other offseason update for you all, which no, is not about my team selection, but is about the teams and players themselves and something that might be happening for the launch of the new season, which if you don't know, it was announced that Duo Queue is coming back. So LCS pros can play with one another in solo queue, which should be a great change because this was something that helped develop content early on in the days of the LCS. So I fired off a tweet, which now has somehow gotten me my own tweet from Sheep Esports. First time I've ever had the US denomination and like my name on. I'm not gonna lie, that was a thrill. Getting that tweet and seeing that, I was like, no shit. Really? Huh, son of a bitch. But I just fired off a tweet saying, hey, $50 a player. If you get all 40 players of the LCS, I know you won't get all of them because some of them will be in Korea, some of them will be elsewhere. You could replace them with NACL people, but just get 40 people total amongst the pros and like tier 2 to put in $50. That's $2,000. Second place wins their money back. First place gets the rest of the pot. Everybody pair up, and you only play as a duo for an entire week. And you just see who can climb the highest. Captain Flowers has already said he wants to commentate this. Other people have chipped in terms of graphics. I'll put the one that was suggested here. I did get in touch with Riot specifically on this. We cannot use LCS branding at all since this is not a Riot sanctioned thing. So it will be called the North American Tag Team, or NATT. Sponsorship with Natty Light or Natty Ice would be incredible. Poverty region. I'm telling you, Captain Flowers would love that. But I mean, this is just something that honestly I've been hoping people would do. Like, I've been spoiled with Call of Duty over the last few weeks to be able to watch the Kayshawn 50K, the kickoff tournament for $75,000. Even though these aren't the official majors and circuits, you've had things to tune into on the Call of Duty side. Now, for North American League of Legends, once the KESPA Cup here is done, there's technically nothing until LCS starts. But if players stream, which this would incentivize doing, it gives us something. And even $2,000, it sounds like nothing, but the reality is like, hey, that's still, the winning team gets 1,900 split in two. That's what, $950 a piece. That's not a small chunk of change, bro. That's for them with how many times they Uber Eats. That's like a week of food. Okay, hopefully a month. I hope they're not that stupid, but Jesus. But it's also great marketing and great branding for the players to get their streams out there, to get their personalities, because as they always say, it's not like they have time to do this during the season. But when the League of Legends season itself, before the LCS kicks off, is there, yeah, why would you not do this or take advantage of this? And so far, Team Liquid, Cloud9, FlyQuest, kinda, like they confirmed that Griffin, who's not their jungler, they would cover for this. They didn't say anything about anybody else, which is interesting. I will say that Dignitas messaged me privately. They'd be down. Disguised is down. Shopify Rebellion are down. So it sounds like teams are in on this, and we are somehow making what was just a, hey, let's make this happen type thing tweet into a very real thing all of a sudden. I don't have any updates. I'm recording this on Tuesday as of 6/26, so there could be additional updates from here. I'll keep everybody posted on Twitter. If you want to follow this, that's the best place to do so. YouTube videos, I typically pre-record a few days beforehand unless we're dealing with live events themselves. So this isn't going to be the best spot for me to give you these updates. But if it does happen, yes, I will be covering it that entire week. And we can show player highlights. We can talk about some of the stats, who's playing well, who's not. Like if we can just do full Sports Center coverage on YouTube videos and then shorts every day. Obviously, I can update you guys with the leaderboards and how things are going, which is just fun. Like this would be so fun for North American content where everybody could just tune in and you have a bunch of North American players streaming League of Legends. Like, think about how we have not had that in such a long time. So I really hope it happens. I really hope this goes from just being, hey, yeah, let's do this on Twitter, to actually materializing. But just know I'm working my ass off to try and make sure that it does. So I'll keep you posted. That's everything you need to know for both the KESPA Cup and the NATT, which I'm working on hopefully making a thing. But hey, it's a good time to be a North American fan. We got a lot of stuff going on, okay? It's a lot of fun. This honestly feels like more excitement for both the offseason and for League of Legends in general that we've seen in quite a while. So I don't know. Let's ride this momentum. And hey, maybe we can ride it into a playoff berth at the KESPA Cup. We'll find that out as I talk to you again on Monday. See you around.